Okay, so my primary project was to make a version of the game Breakout that is able to play itself. Okay, so this is all handled in a class that I've called System, and then System has all these functions: step, draw, process events, render, run, and sort priority. Sort priority just handles which ball is going to be hitting the ground first, and then puts that into a position, and then sends that a position into a vector, the lowest position, sends that to the step function, and the step function is able to tell the paddle, okay, move to the position that this ball in the zero position of the vector is going to land at. So um, system just handles all of the conditions for when the ball is going to collide with anything. So if it collides with the top, bounce down. Collides with the sides, bounce the other direction. And then if it collides with the bottom, reset the ball. And then if it collides with the top blocks, go through the top blocks function check collision. Process events. This is just going to handle all of the keyboard events, so like if you hit enter, space, whether you're going to the menu or you're playing the game, or you're starting the game, you're not going to actually play it. And then we have this function draw that draws the main menu if you haven't gone through it yet, and otherwise draws all of the other things in the game. Render's going to clear the window first, then draw it, then display it. This happens on every frame. And then run is just going to handle all of those other functions. And then always with this condition while the window is open. If the window is closed, it's still going to try to do these things, but has no place to do it in. For all of the objects that you were seeing, there's pretty much a class for them. So ball is going to have a class that handles the velocity, all these different events that could happen, whether it collides with the bottom, top, left side, or if it's falling, has a function to tell it what to do when all those events happen. And pretty much everything that's going to happen to that ball is handled in the ball class. Then we have the same thing going on with this blocks class. So blocks being all those top blocks at the top that were getting knocked out. Those are all handled by SF rectangle shapes. And there's a function that's a Boolean that just checks collision. It takes an argument of a circle shape, so that'll be the ball. You pass that into the system, and the system takes that function and then puts a ball into that argument. And the blocks, the way these blocks are made is pretty much just the way you'd make any 2D array, where you go through a row, then inside that row you go through the columns and make a block for every column. The paddle is also handled in a class, so the paddle itself is an object as well. And this is a really simple class. It just handles the fact that it's a rectangle shape, and it has functions that allow you to access this variable and tell it to move. And it also has a function that calculates the needed velocity. It takes this needed velocity takes the argument of time, so the time it takes for that ball to for any ball that it needs to handle, whatever time it takes to hit the ground, it's going to take that into an argument, then figure out what velocity it needs to get there at that fast enough for it to catch it. And that's pretty much it. Main just handles the it initializes the system and then runs it. Okay, thank you.